ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, in a balmy 22 degrees in Cape Cod, Mass. Ooh, it was 15 degrees last night. It's getting a little cold back here in the Cape. Maybe Scotty Webb live, excuse me, from Tampa can send some heat. Tis the season to everyone. Headliner today: Eagles officially broken. Philly fans, it hurts. I'm having flashbacks of a couple of years ago. I think they started the year 7-1, and they went on this big swoon and crashed and burned and didn't make the playoffs. What popped in my eyes is the first play of the game. Hurts goes deep to A.J. Brown down the left side. Incomplete, and he takes himself right off the field. So I don't know what's going on there. Hard-fought battle, had the lead, and couldn't hold on. What it really does is puts Dallas back in play. Dallas needs to sheet. Philly's going to lose 2 more. I looked at their schedule. It'll be tough for them to lose 2 more. But anyways, first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Amber, Holly, Carol, Bucks, Alan, Matthew, Drew, Jacob, the list is endless. Come on board. Finish out 2025 with us. 2026 will be epic, I promise. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Terry Smith, second to none. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wine. He's got it all. Let him do all the work for your Christmas and New Year's Eve party. Head on over to AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Without further ado, let's bring him in. Scotty Webb. What's up, champ?
What's going on, man? I think, we got some weird stuff going on in the NFL with these teams that, were good for the last few years. But that's all good. Cyclical stuff happens. I'm not sure everybody's ready for the cyclical stuff to happen, though. And then, I was really disappointed. The first day was a dud for, the baseball. Nothing really going on. I mean, you're going to hear rumors all the time. So you're going to hear rumors about this, that, and the other. But I thought overall, it was just kind of good for the Chargers, because I didn't know what to expect with a guy with a broken hand, and so it was. I think that kid, I forget what his name is now, begins with an O, came back and
Omarion Hampton.
That kid played pretty good, from what I was really looking at. So I thought he gave him some juice, and I think that's going to be important, because if you play out the season and you look at and you do that, and maybe you give the Chargers some wins that I didn't give them, before, and that changes where the Chiefs line up as making the playoffs. So I thought it was kind of an interesting game there.
Yeah, and a tale of there was so many moving variables, moving parts. I stayed far away from it myself. You don't know first and foremost which Eagles team's going to show up. Number one, number two, you don't know, are they going to play the first half 24-0, take the foot off the gas and lose 27-24? Are they going to play a full game? Are they not going to show up? We know the Chargers, really no home field advantage. Herbert, broken left hand, insert Omari and Hampton. I think it was like the second or third play for the Chargers. Pressure, scramble, dump off to Vidal, and he breaks it for like 50, 55 yards. Turned into a kicker fest. Dicker the kicker, Mr. Automatic. Not as flashy as, let's say, Aubrey, but always gets the job done. But when the dust settled, here's an Eagles team with another loss. Dallas back in the mix officially. But again, looking at the Philly schedule, trying to find two losses, I think there's a Washington, there's a Vegas, and there was something else. So my point is something's broken in Philly. And when you look top to bottom for the playoffs, the NFC, as we know last week, Bears number 1 seed, lose hard-fought battle at Green Bay, drop to 7. We saw the real Rams team. We saw the real Seattle team in the second half. 49ers coming off a bye. They're getting better. The NFC is the wild, wild west, no pun intended.
Yeah, it's when it comes to the quality of teams and how many there are, the NFC dominates. And I think when you just the best way to synopsis yesterday is you can't have 5 turnovers or 4 turnovers or 4 interceptions or whatever and expect to win. You just can't. So the Eagles are going to have to button some stuff up. And at some point, these teams are going to run out of, we got this game we can give away or this game we can give away. They're not going to have these games to give away pretty soon. So they're going to have to button down, and figure it out. And then I would say I think we might know who the Eagles are. The expectation of them being Super Bowl champions should not be that way anymore. They don't play like it. So, hey, thanks, PayBPB. You reposted the stream, so that's awesome. So I think as you sit there and do this stuff and you watch it every day and you watch it every week and you hear the rumblings of they got Jalen Hurts and they got this wide receiver and they got that wide receiver and they got the greatest running back since whenever and all these other things. Well, they don't play that way, and there's an issue going on with that team. And I think that the expectation now, because they've played I don't know, is it 12 games now? And they're 13 games. That's who they are. They are that team. They're not the Super Bowl. They don't play that. Their tag is the Super Bowl champions until they don't win this year's Super Bowl. So I think the reality becomes is that the Eagles are who the Eagles are, and they're not the best team in the NFC, and they're not the best team in the NFL. And if they don't play home games in the playoffs, which is possible, if they don't play home games in the playoffs, they might lose right away. So, they might not go make any deep runs. And, the Super Bowl hangover thing for them happens. And, all of a sudden it's up for grabs for anybody else.
Right now, as we speak, Philly hosts Las Vegas on Sunday, 11.5-point favorites. And believe it or not, Minnesota-Dallas, the 8:20 game. I guess you can't flex out Mr. Jerry Jones at Jerry's World. Dallas 6-point favorites there.
I don't think they've flexed any game this year, have they?
Yeah, they flexed yesterday. They flexed the Patriots-Ravens game to 8:20 next Sunday. So that was their first flex there. So not a lot to talk about the NFL. Quiet week in college football. Again, one bowl game, one Army-Navy game, which we'll get into. I do want to circle back to the MLB. Yes, disappointed, a lot of rumblings, everyone's in play. I just get nauseated where, for me and the Red Sox, they're interested. They had a Zoom call. They're going to meet, yada, yada, yada. The more Red Sox playbook, very simply of late, has been they prefer to trade. They have assets. They prefer to trade, get control of a player, and then try to extend them on a team-friendly deal a la Crochet there. And Scotty, the more and more I dug into it, the more and more it made sense to me with the holes that they have. Kettle Marte, hands down, is the play for them.
Well, that's I can walk you through some stuff here. So,
Sure.
Can you pull up on your stuff Fangraphs?
Yeah.
And we'll walk through a little bit of this so that people can really see how this kind of works, and see what kinds of impacts we have. So, I've got them pulled up Fangraphs, and then what you do. And then what you do is you go to where it says teams. At the top it says teams.
Yeah.
Then slide all the way down where it says positional depth chart. See that?
Yeah.
Then just click on catchers, for example. So what's really cool when you do that, what you're looking at right now is every single team's catchers. And then on the right little side there is the order in which they're ranked. So, and that's depth included too. So that looks pretty good on there, Jeff. That shows up good. So, maybe click that one little ad out of there and you'll be good at the bottom. But anyway, that's the way that works. So Seattle is listed number 1. You can see their catchers. Their catchers are Cal Raleigh and Nick Raposo, and you can see what their projected WAR numbers look like, 5.8 and 0. Those are the current projected WAR numbers for 2026. Those aren't what they did last year. That's what they're supposed to do for this year. And then you can see where everybody ranks in terms of all of that. And look at who's at the bottom. Isn't that interesting? It's the Phillies. And you know why the Phillies are at the bottom? If you take this and then slide it down, you'll see all of them ranked, and then you go down to the very bottom, and there's the Phillies at the very bottom. So just scroll your thing down, and it'll show you their catchers are right now Rafael Marchand, Garrett Stubbs, and Paul McIntosh. That's because Real Muto is not signed with them. So that's why you're going to see movement and action and different things for some of these teams. And just looking above them, you can see Logan O'Hoppe and Travis D'Arnaud. And you see a big X thing there. Well, that means he's hurt. If you put your little cursor over it, it'll tell you he's got a concussion. He's out. Well, he's not going to have a concussion for the beginning of the year, so he's going to play. So it tells you different things. So this is a really cool function and feature because you can then look at where your team's needs are and what the team's needs are. What's the next interesting cool thing is if we go all the way back up to the top again, there's a column that says, see where it says AL East, like where we were looking at the player position where you got the lid up where down. No. Don't just stay on the same page we were on. So like see where, there you go. See where it says free agents?
AL East. I'm on AL East.
Slide all the way over to where it says free agents.
Yeah.
Click it. Click free agents. So there is your list of guys that are available, and those guys that are available and what their ranks are. So like if the Phillies sign JT Real Muto, he's worth 1.9 more, and he goes to that catcher category. 1.9 more improves them up, and then they get better numbers, and blah blah blah. So fills those gaps. And if you slide down, you can see you got Pete Alonso and Ryan O'Hearn at first base. So now if you want to go and say, well, I don't care about it, I want to see who the best hitters are and the best pitchers are. If you keep sliding this down, it's going to go all the way past left field, center field, right field, DH, and then it says all batters. So when it says all batters, you can see the number one guy right now is Kyle Tucker. Number 2 is Bo Bichette. Number 3 is Alex Bregman. And Alex Bregman and Bo Bichette have the same WAR number. Then Cody Bellinger, Kyle Schwarber, Eugenio Suarez, and Pete Alonso. It tells you the value of those guys, and when a player gets signed, how many WAR they're going to add to your team. And then if you slide it down just a little bit further, there's your starting pitchers. Framber Valdez is the number 1 listed pitcher on this list. And then Ranger Suarez, Michael King, Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Chris Bassett, Zach Eflin, Zach Lytle, Justin Verlander, just on and on and on. And then it does the same thing. If you slide it down just a little bit more, you got relief pitchers. Edwin Diaz, Robert Suarez, Hunter Harvey, Pete Fairbanks, Sir Anthony Dominguez, blah, blah, blah. The reason I'm saying all this is because as your team starts to plus and minus players out, you can really look at what kind of an impact it makes player by player and what kind of increase or decrease it makes. So, for example, you were just talking about the Boston Red Sox, right? So if you go back and you make a trade, and we're going to go, we're going to get out of the free agent market. We're going to go where it says, so if you go to AL East and you click Red Sox, there's your Red Sox. So you were talking about getting Ketel Marte. So say you want to you're going to give up whatever players you're going to give up. And where's he going to play? Second base, probably?
Yes.
So if he plays second base, you've got Ceddanne Rafaela there now, and he's worth 1.1 more. And you got Rami Gonzalez worth 1. Your whole second base group is worth 2.6. So now you can do the same thing and go back up again, and you can go to NL West. You can click Diamondbacks, and you can go to Ketel Marte and see he's worth 4.3 WAR all by himself at second base. So that almost doubles your productivity out of second base. So that's an awesome move for the Red Sox. Now, so you can sit there and go, well, what does the Diamondbacks need to look like now? So if you go look and you say, well, Diamondbacks, they don't do very good at first base, right? They got a 1 rank at first base, so they need a first baseman. They're probably going to need a little bit of a second baseman in return, so that maybe they get whatever his name is, Ceddanne back, and maybe they give him a first baseman. It doesn't look like they got a left fielder, and when you really look at it, they need some starting pitching. So maybe you can put a package deal together where you get a second baseman, some young prospect kid, first baseman, and a starting pitcher, and you can get him. And maybe that's how you can look at what it's going to take to get like a Ketel Marte. Now, when I looked at some of this stuff and started putting some of this stuff together and watching some of the conversations, what I heard was, and again, this is all hearsay stuff that you got to try to listen to the guys, but they all talked about, okay, well, they're taking offers on Ketel Marte, but the price is high. Well, you can see why. I mean, if he's 4.3 WAR, he's the best free agent there is, if that makes sense. The free agent market was led by Tucker, who was 4.3 WAR, and then the other guys were 4. Well, he's a 4.3 WAR or 4.6 WAR by himself. So what was he? Yeah, Ketel Marte is a 4.3 WAR all by himself. So as it turns out, they're going to have to, and the interesting thing is not only is he a 4.3 WAR, but if you look, here's another interesting thing. We'll see where all the Diamondbacks hitters are. If you slide it down and you look at all the Diamondbacks hitters lined up together, just slide it down. you'll see that Ketel Marte's 4.8 WAR. Well, how did he get from 4.3 to 4.8? Well, they got him playing designated hitter a couple of times, and they got him playing, another position or something. So he gets to be a 4.8 WAR guy. Well, now you got to really come up with, that's anytime you're, a 4.8 WAR guy, you're an all-star. You're one of the best players in baseball. Your Aaron Judges and your guys that are MVP caliber guys, they're probably around 5 something or 6 when it comes to WAR. But a 4.8 WAR is definitely way up there in quality of player. So if the Red Sox were to get this particular player, he's a 4.8 WAR guy. He's going to be an all-star. They need to give a package back over that, is meritive of that. So that's the reason I bring this up, Jeff, is I think you can use Fangraphs in a lot of different ways. And this is one of the ways I use it because I need to go and judge what teams' strengths are, what teams' weaknesses are, and do they really address some of the concerns. And the truth is, when you start to look at who's available in the free agent market and where they fill holes and stuff, some of those guys don't cut the mold to fit some of the holes. So, like in your case, if you want a second baseman, if I look at the second baseman free agent market, free agents, and I go second base, Jorge Polanco is the best one at 1.9 more. And then Louis Rengifo is number 2 on that list. So do those guys really carry the merit to go out and try to sign as a second baseman? I don't think so. So as it turns out, I think what you're talking about with the Red Sox makes perfect sense if they can pull that off. But I think it'll cost them quite a bit.
Well. Again, I'm going to give you upside with Cassis. I'm going to give you upside. I don't know if Rafael is the answer for them. Romy Gonzalez. Do you want a ready pitcher? Because Gallen's probably gone with a Brian Bayo type. I'm hearing the name.
They need a pitcher. They got to have a starter.
So there's Bayo.
And they signed Mike Soroka yesterday, for God's sakes.
And I'm hearing Tolle and Early of the two, obviously Tolle. But my point is Marte fits so many. If you added a Marte Alonso, again, it's the trade. That's why Joe Ryan was a big piece. That's why I think Peralta from Milwaukee's still in play. Because they rather trade assets than pay for the free agency. And it comes down to, are they bringing Bregman back or not? Here's what I'll tell you is, I think they're going to go and sign a big bat and then let Bregman sit there like he did last year, and no one's going to want him, and he's going to come back to the Sox on a 1-year deal. But my point is, let's move on. Let's take care of the right side here. Let's offer up a package that's fair for both sides. Pencil in Marte at second. Sign Alonso at first, and then let's go. We'd be cooking with Crisco on the right side, Scotty.
Oh, no question. I mean, there's no question that would be the case. And if I were to, so when you're looking at this, if you slide all the way back up, and so see the category, not where the players are, but on the right-hand side, like where it says Diamondbacks catchers and it lists the names. If you look just to the right of that, the teams are in order there. See them? So yeah. The teams are in order, and that's by collective WAR numbers. So it tells you the batters, and then it tells you the pitchers. So you can see the Red Sox are listed at 21.5 on batters, 20.9 on pitchers, and they're 42.4 listed as a total collective. Well, if you're going to start adding on numbers, and you add on the Ketel Martes, and you add on Pete Alonso in those two categories, and you get say you get 7 more WAR or something, 8 more WAR added to your number, and you don't lose that much, you're up there with the Dodgers. I mean, that's 50. So that's kind of how that works. Now, if you give up, you were talking about Bay or whatever, well, that's going to back them out of the pitching just a little bit. So the numbers will offset some, but you got pluses and minuses and pluses and minuses. So you can see that kind of how that works. What's interesting is if you click the top where it says pitcher for that category, it'll sort them by pitcher. So go, like where you see where it says bat, no, not all the way. I thought we're talking about the teams again, and slide your mouse to the right. Keep going to the right. There you go. Now click PIT. Now that's the bottom. I'm going to pick it one more time. There you go. So the Red Sox are listed as the number one pitching team in all of baseball for pitchers. So they're the number one pitching team, followed by the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Tigers, the Braves, blah, blah, blah. And then you can see down at the bottom, you've got the Diamondbacks that need pitchers. You've got the Cardinals that need pitchers. We talked about that just a little bit yesterday. The Cardinals are bad. So the Cardinals have they need pitchers. So that's the surplus of which, maybe they can start to do those different things. Steve, Dallas Cowboys, what happened, Eagles, since the fumble against Dallas? You changed a lot. Yeah, I suppose, if you think about Dallas and the game, and then you think about the Eagles and what's happened with the Eagles, it's kind of interesting. I think if you go look, and let me pull this up for 1 second. Eagles. If I click Eagles, where's Eagles? Eagles. So, so the Eagles played the Cowboys in week 1. They won 24-20. They beat the Chiefs 20-17. They beat the Rams 33-26. They beat the Buccaneers, and then they lost, which was 31-25. And then they lost to, and this is where I think things happened. Something happened after the Buccaneers game, because they played Denver. They lost to Denver. Then they lost to the Giants. Then they beat Minnesota. Then they beat the Giants in the rematch. Then they beat Green Bay. They beat the Giants. They lost to Dallas. They lost to the Bears. Now they've lost again. But the reason I say that is in the game against Dallas, they scored 24. Then they scored 20 against the Kansas City. Then they scored 33-31. Then they only scored 17. They scored 28. Then rematch, they scored 30. And then they only scored 10, 16, 21, 15, 19. So they're not scoring enough points, the Eagles. Their offense is bad. And then number two, when you start to think about what they're doing, they gave up 24 points to the Bears, 24 points to Dallas, 22 points to the Chargers. They only gave up 7 to Green Bay. That's pretty good. But they gave up 20 to the Giants and 34 to the Giants and 22 to the Vikings. They gave up 21 to Denver, 25 to Tampa Bay, 26 to the Rams. I know we can say a lot about the Eagles, but I would say, number one, you're giving up way too many points. And then number two, your offense is just not clicking. This is an offense that used to score close to 30 points a game, and now they don't score, but, they barely get into the 20s. So I think it's one of these things where the Eagles have a lot of work to do, and maybe it's injuries, maybe it's a lot of other things. But I'm not sure. He said these numbers are for the highest paid offense in the league. It's just awful. I agree. Like, something's wrong. The body language of the players sort of indicates to me it's a chemistry issue, but I don't know that that's the case or not. I think some of these teams do way better when they get rid of their issue. They just do. You relate it to baseball, for example. Jeff can tell you, like Rafael Devers leaves the Red Sox, and then the Red Sox, lose their big power bat, lose everything, but still don't lose on the wins and losses on the field. So, things like that happen, and I think they got some divas and some problems, and I don't know that their head coach is mature enough yet to maybe I don't want to say it that way. So we'll just say it's mature enough yet to handle those kind of crises. I think their quarterback's a little bit standoffish when it comes to some of that kind of stuff too. He doesn't nip it in the bud either. So stuff like that has to happen. And Kelsey's gone, their offensive linemen, some of these guys that have been around a while that maybe were the guys that handled that stuff before. I don't know their locker room dynamic, but it doesn't look good to me. But good point, Steve. Anyway.
And the funny is, this is not the first time we've seen the Eagles do what they're doing. Again, I talked earlier in the show a few years back. I think they started 7-1, and then they lost like 6 out of their next 7 or something stupid. And the problem that really arises is the fact that they've been anointed the NFC East champs, which means you get into the playoffs. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, does the road to the Super Bowl go through Philly or does it go through LA, meaning who gets the number 1 seed? Well, that's far left the building now with the Eagles, as they're just trying to hold on. They got 4 games to get out of this funk and to get ready for the playoffs, hold on and win the East, and where they'll be traveling. Maybe they'll host the first round, but they'll be traveling the rest of the way. Not that the LA Rams host a big home field advantage. I keep going back to this, and I get it, guys, so just don't troll me. My point is, the biggest home field advantage in the NFC, which you don't want to see, is Seattle with the number 1 seed. I know Darnold, big stage, deer in headlight, can throw 5 turnovers, create 5 turnovers with the best of them. I get all that. Trust me, I do. But my point is, Seattle, the 12th man in January with that weather, is not somewhere that most teams want to go.
Well, I just pulled up the team tiers for the NFL as it is today. And by far the number 1 team, and there's only one spot. I don't know if I can get my laptop to kind of get there. Well, it's not going to really show it for me. But the team tier, there's only one team in it. It's the Rams. The Rams are out in front of everybody. And then the next level tier is Green Bay, New England, and Buffalo. Those are the next kind of tier, with Seattle kind of creeping in there right on the line of that tier. And then the next tier down, in Indianapolis still on there, but they're going to fall way off of there with everything else that's going on. And then the next level tier down is Kansas City, the Lions, and the Broncos, and now Houston's creeping in there. Well, where's the Eagles? The Eagles are in the next tier down, which has Chargers, Jaguars, Eagles, Bears, 49ers, Cowboys. And that's kind of where they are, to be honest. They're better than teams like Buccaneers, Steelers, and Falcons and Ravens and Dolphins and stuff like that. But they're not better than the top tier teams in all of football these days. So I think, and then if I do this by defense, I think this is where the most telling statistic will be for the Eagles, because you slide them down, and if you're like, obviously we know Houston's the best, but I don't know if many people know Seattle's second best. They're really good on defense, and then the Rams are third best. People like the Browns, and they think, well, the Browns are really good. Well, they're fourth, and then the Chargers are fifth best, and then the Jaguars are sixth best. You got teams that you never thought of really would be that high up. And because everybody likes, well, the Broncos are really good. Well, they're seventh best. And then you got the Vikings, New England, and then you have the Eagles, who are just ahead of the Saints and just ahead of Indianapolis. So they're 10th best defense, and offensively they are so they're 10th best on defense, and on offense the Eagles are 16th best. No, 16th best is just average. This is a team that can score lots and lots of points. So if they're slightly better than average on defense and just average on offense, they're not going to win. They're not going to win against better defenses or better offenses, really.
Again, other matchups here. Buffalo, 1 point favorite, 1.5 point favorite. Some pick 'em spots at New England. That'll be a 1 o'clock game. Pats win basically clinches the AFC East. A Buffalo win.
So do you want to do an exercise, Jeff?
What's that?
Look, if you go to ESPN.com /NFL playoff machine, we can play out the season, and then it'll tell you. And this is sort of where I looked at stuff from before. So it looks like, I don't know if you can see my thing. It looks like this, and we can just do it just by talking about it if you want. If you got it up, then we can do it that way. There you go, beautiful. So right now you can see week 14 is in the books, right? No, week 14 is coming up. That's what it is. So where it says at the top, the little tab says week 14. You can see the games. So it says, let me go back and clear this. So where are we at? We're at week 14. Yeah, those are in the books, right? Yeah, they just played. So week 15, you got to click the week 15 tab. So then those are the games coming up, and those are the current seedings and everything as it sits right now. So the first game, they're dark, but you can see if you put your mouse over it, you got the Falcons and you got the Buccaneers. Buccaneers at home. So I'm sitting here and I go, okay, Buccaneers at home. I'll take that. Bills, and so you click the Buccaneers and it'll light them up. Right? So then the next game is the Buffalo Bills and New England. So you tell me who's going to win that game.
Buffalo.
So click Buffalo. So then you have Baltimore and the Bengals. And at this point, I think the Bengals are going to win that game.
Me too.
You click Bengals. So Jets, Jaguars, I don't think that's a game. You pick Jaguars, right?
Yeah.
And then Chiefs at home against the Chargers. What do you think?
Almost bite at the apple with the Chiefs.
Okay. And then I think Houston dominates the Cardinals there at home. I think the Bears beat the Browns. I think the Giants probably win this game at home against. I'm just picking a home team. It doesn't necessarily matter, but I take the Giants. Eagles and the Raiders. I gotta take the Eagles. Seahawks and the Colts. I gotta take the Seahawks. Broncos and the Packers. Who's gonna win that one in Denver?
Kind of funny. Green Bay's 2.5 point favorites there. I'll take Green Bay there.
All right, let's put Green Bay in. San Francisco, Tennessee. We got San Francisco, Carolina, and the Saints.
Let me just take a look.
That one's in New Orleans.
Yeah, I know. We'll take a shot with Bryce Young.
Okay. And then Rams and Lions. Rams at home.
Yeah, and there's 5.5, 6 point favorites.
And then Cowboys, Vikings. You got to take Cowboys, right?
Yeah. And then this one is more interesting. Miami quietly
moving up.
Yeah. Pittsburgh 3.5. I'm going to take the Dolphins in the upset in the flat spot for the Steelers.
Okay, so we click Dolphins. Now click week 16 at the top. And we do the same exercise, right? So the next game, this is going to be Rams at Seahawks.
Seahawks,
Okay.
Philly, Green Bay at the Bears. This is a big one. If we got Green Bay winning in Denver. I'll take the Bears in the upset.
Right.
This one, who cares? You got to go with the Bills, Chiefs, Chargers at Dallas. We're going to take Dallas. Minnesota at the Giants. Road, we'll take the Giants there. Bucks at Tampa. That's for all the actually. So Tampa probably loses that last week, and then they pick off Tampa. Season on the line for both. We're gonna go upset. Sorry, Scotty. I'm gonna take the Panthers there. We're gonna take Joe to beat Miami. Denver to bounce back and beat the Jags. We're gonna take Brissett. Obviously the Texans. Pittsburgh then travels to the Lions. I'll just give a slight to the Lions there. Pats at Baltimore, season on the line for the Ravens. We'll take the Ravens. San Fran at the Colts there. All right, week 17.
Yeah.
All right. Dallas, Lions, Chiefs, Raiders. What's this? Houston at the Chargers, the Surgeon Texans, Seattle, Baltimore at Green Bay. I'll give them one more bite at the apple. Burrow, Steelers, Pats. Jesus, this for number one pick here. We're gonna go there. Jags. Wow, Bucks got to travel to Miami. Playoffs on the line. Surgeon Dolphins. Philly then travels to Buffalo. San Fran beats the Bears, and the Rams win there. And last but not least, Rams. Season on the line. Broncos, Chiefs, Pats, if it matters, Eagles. This is for first place. Winning in. Ravens, Steelers. We're going to go Ravens. Seattle beats San Fran at San Fran. Houston, Dallas, Cool Joe. I'm going to go Bears in the upset. Falcons find a way. Buffalo, Green Bay. There's your Bucks win. And the Jags. Okay, I'll complete.
So now look at your scenario. You got the Chiefs in the playoffs. See that? Now yours, you got the Bears in. So like when I did mine and I played out the season, I didn't think the Bears were going to win as many games as probably what you've got in there. So I've got the Bears out. But and you know, you've got the Lions out. So it's kind of interesting when you start to play out the season and you go, you know what? The Chiefs don't have a chance. Yes, they do, based on who they play. And you've got the Ravens in and the Steelers out. So
and that in the NFC, I got Seattle as the 1 seed, the Bears as the 2. Philly gets in. Your Bucks get in, and the Rams travel to to Tampa. San Fran travels to Philly, and Green Bay travels to Chicago in the AFC. KC travels to New England. And I tell you what, at this point, I probably would rather see Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City than Houston there, the way it sits now. Jacksonville travels to Houston, and Buffalo travels to Baltimore. I like what that looks like.
Well, it's interesting to me how when you start to play out the season and you start to think about certain things, and kind of the way I was doing it was I just want to pick the favorites and see what it looks like. Because if you pick the favorites and you kind of look at it, then maybe that's kind of how it looks. But that's the exercise I think that you can start looking at and kind of going, well, there's a path for some of these teams that everybody says there isn't a path. And, you know, you just did yours. I did mine a little while ago, and I think Kansas City makes it. I just do. I think they make it. And I was thinking, well, based off of what the Chargers did last night, maybe if I redo my thought process, maybe the Chargers get in. Well, the Chargers in your world don't make it into my world either. So I thought it was. I think it's interesting how when you start to look at really how things break down, and like you had Tampa Bay losing a couple times there to teams that maybe they're going to be favored over. And they still make it in over like Carolina, because Carolina's schedule is pretty bad of who they play. Now I will tell you that the Bears have everything going for them in terms of if they win the games, because I think they play the Packers twice coming up, and I think they play the Lions. So my thought is they might lose all of those games.
Well,
So,
they just lost to the Packers, so they have one more with the Packers, and I think they got two with the Lions.
So there you go. So they got games that I think they can lose all of them. If they lose all of them, they're not even in the playoffs. So I think as things, and then you can see at the bottom there that kind of tells you your wins and losses and stuff and where they are and how it kind of breaks out and all that stuff. But anyway, point being, I thought it was a pretty cool exercise. I think it's pretty neat. I think it kind of puts things in perspective, and in the reason that you're seeing that, like the teams on the right hand side of your column up there with the wins, those are the division winners, and the teams on the left those are your wild cards. So the wild cards play the division winners, and obviously division winners are going to be home games, and then the winners of those games will then break out and start. Then they'll put, in your case, Seattle will play somebody, whoever the lowest seeded team is coming out of there. So I think as it kind of breaks out and looks at it, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty neat how everybody's writing off Kansas City and stuff, and the truth of the matter is they're going to make it in. And look what you did. You got Houston winning the division. So I think that's kind of interesting that Houston can go on and win the division, and Jacksonville makes it in. You get two teams out of that same division, and the Colts with an injury, they're going to lose all their games. So they fall right out of everything and don't even make it in, which I think is what really opens the door for Kansas City.
Well, we can't wait. We got some weeks to go here. Again, I'm kind of really hoping that we get some hot stove action today. At least something. Again, I get so tired of all the speculations. Meat. Now they're saying Alonso might drag this out. Pete, just do yourself a favor here. Pete, you've been dragging it out for years. There's no 5-year deal out there. I don't think there's a 4-year deal out there either. But maybe you get a 3 with the player option for yourself. Rumor has it Schwarber will be the first shoe to drop. Myself and Scotty will be back here on Thursday, 9:15, 9:30 at the latest. Winter hours with the dogs here. We moved up 2 degrees. We're up to 24 degrees here back on Cape Cod. I want to give a big shout out to Steve, Dallas Cowboys. Great questions. Thank you for all the love and support. Scotty, rest of the afternoon tomorrow off. Closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think closing thoughts are, we talked about it before. It's we're in a sit, hold tight, and hang on to what really happens and not what prospectively happens. I tried to provide some tools to allow you to look through some thoughts that you might have and what it's going to take to do some things with player movement and some other stuff. And you can grade that stuff a little bit on your own. Try to do that a little bit. Try to make it so that if you really want to see what teams are in need of what, you can do that. So that was kind of my goal with some of that stuff that hopefully you were able to put together today. And then we got an NFL game coming up. Atlanta is playing Tampa. Tampa needs to get their stuff together, and they need to win that game. So I think you'll see a good performance from them. But quarterback hasn't played well for a couple weeks now, so we'll see what he looks like. And I think you're going to see Mike Evans back in that game. I think he's going to play. So I think you're going to see some more weapons that he's going to have to choose from. I think they're going to overwhelm this team. I think this will be a good spot for Tampa to be betting on. So we'll break that game down probably Wednesday or Thursday. My problem with those things is the data that I get doesn't come real quick for the Thursday games. It comes a little later, so we'll see. So other than that, I mean, it's no need to get crazy, you know. Now if you're betting basketball or doing some other stuff, you know, okay, great. But you know, football wise, it's a good time to slow down a little bit, not get too crazy. And I always try to tell people, don't bet on what you think you know, bet on what you do know, because what you think you know will bite you. What you do know is fact, and if you bet on fact, you're going to do a lot better than things where you kind of do, oh, I think this is going to happen or this should happen. Yeah, bet on what you know and where your advantages are, and then play that off, right? So just be careful what you get involved in, and now that you have time to look at stuff, look at it.
Myself and Andrew McGinnis will be back here in about 15-20 minutes. We can talk some NHL. We're going to see who's hot, who's not, maybe take a peek at a few futures. And we'll keep our eye on some breaking news, hopefully from the wood stove. There you go. The Hot Stove League winter meetings in Orlando. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, EDC Sports Investor, one and only Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB, we want to give a shout out to everyone watching and listening. Thank you guys so much. If you could just tweet, retweet, tell a friend, head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investor. Subscribe. It's free. Come on back. Turn on all the notifications. You know, it's fun. We're here to educate with a little entertainment, unlike those others. Stay warm back east and stay tuned.